Thank you everyone for joining us today to talk a little bit about the time clock solution that we're going to be presenting. Myself, I'm David Corridor. I see plenty of known names and a few new names on the chat as well. So everyone I've known already, great to see you again. Everyone that I don't, it's a pleasure to meet you today. I'm the product owner and client success manager for Heuristic. And basically, I'm in charge of everything product related, including, of course, the time clock solution that we'll be presenting. So here's the agenda for today. We've done a brief introduction. We'll present who we are, Heuristic, for those that who don't know us. We'll talk a little bit about the time clock, what are the challenges and the solutions it provides. We'll do a demo of the product, and then we'll talk a little bit about the roadmap, and then we'll close with key takeaways, a QA session if you have any doubts or questions, and then the information to how to request that. All right, so very brief introduction about us. So Heuristic is a software development company specialized in Acumatica. We've been in the ERP world for over 15 years, 12 of those specifically in Acumatica, and we've been together for those 12 years as a development team. Our team was part of the Acumatica engineering team for around 6 years, taking care of the field service solution, which is a module that we developed back then a few years ago. And after that, we came back to the community under the name of Heuristic, and we've been working on our own products and development services. We are the only ISV with close to 55 stars review in the Acumatica marketplace. And I say close because at this point today, I don't know if the new reviews have been published or not, but we're very, very close to 50. We are the proud winners of the Acumatica Excellence Award for Development Service, which was awarded this year on the Acumatica Summit. And in general, we have project experience across multiple industries. We have been working pretty much in every Acumatica model and vertical. So we are very, very comfortable when we tackle a new product or do a customization. And that has led us to do a variety of products like the TimeClock solution that we'll be presenting today, but we have others like PowerDoc and PowerSign, which are related to generating PDF documents inside Acumatica and connecting with the signatures. We have a cost roll by component product for the manufacturing industry. And of course, last but not least, the Acumatica point of sale that we have been managing and improving for a couple of years now. So let's talk about TimeClock and what the TimeClock solution is. So basically, it's a mobile solution. It's a clock in, clock out solution designed for personnel that are in the field that they don't have the time to enter all the details of the work that they're doing. They just need a quick option to be able to clock in into the job. It's built within the Acumatica framework. That means that it's built inside Acumatica, inside the Acumatica database. There's no synchronization. There's no additional licenses required in terms of a completely different system or an API connection or anything like that. We're built inside Acumatica with the Acumatica framework. And that means that we also leverage the Acumatica mobile app. So there's no additional app going on. It's just a regular Acumatica app, and we leverage that to create a new screen in there. And like I said, we're designed for efficiency and simple timekeeping. So it's a product that integrates seamlessly with projects or construction, field service, and payroll. And it does that through the employee time activities. So the TimeClock is a refined interface, a refined mobile interface to enter time activities in the system to impact project construction, field service, and all of that eventually can flow into the Acumatica payroll module. Since we are built inside the Acumatica framework and use the Acumatica app, That means that we are completely compatible for wherever the Acumatica app is compatible for, and that means iOS and Android. That includes tablets and cell phone devices. And of course, there's also a web version that the people in the office can use, just like any other Acumatica screen. So let's talk a little bit about timekeeping and what the challenges are out there and how we have tackled those challenges and provided a solution. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with this. So what's the current issue while trying to keep time accurate in the field? The first obvious thing is the Acumatica employee time activities. Even though it's a great screen and great functionality, it doesn't have a mobile version that you can use. It doesn't have a mobile screen version. So that's the first hurdle that people using Acumatica face. And what we did was creating a new time entry screen designed for the Acumatica mobile app. Then we have the pace of the operations. Normally, when people are in the field, they don't have the time to carefully select all the information and enter every single piece of information that they need to record an employee time activity. So what we did was create a simplified versions, clock in, clock out, and allow them to record time in just a couple of clicks without having to enter much. And that takes us to the third challenge, is the amount of information required for entering time in Acumatica. Like I said, if you are going to record time, you need to select a project, project task, maybe the cost code, earning type, description. And at the end of the day, the workers out there may not have the time or the patience to do all of that. So what we devised was a way to leverage a set of default values that you can set up across the system or for individual employees, so they don't have to select the same values every time they're entering time. It will automatically be defaulted for them, and that way they can just focus on quickly clocking in and doing their job and not start looking for every single piece of information to be able to clock their time. Then another challenge that they have, and we got a lot of requests about this, is traceability. So people don't know if you're recording time or manually entering a time activity, people don't know where that's being done at. And what we did was leverage Acumatica's app GPS location tracking. So we record whenever an activity is started or stopped. Every time they clock in or clock out, we record the location. And we created a map screen so you can see where the actions are being performed. That way you can see if the people on the field are clocking in, clocking out at the job site, or if they're doing it outside what you consider acceptable for them near the project. And finally, last but not least, the integration part of this. If you're using a third-party software for tracking time and integrating with Acumatica, you have to deal with all the integration part. That means synchronizations, that means additional cost for the other system. That means that you have now two vulnerable points for entering the information. So if it goes out of sync, then you have to deal with the discrepancies between Acumatica and your third-party system. Since we're built inside Acumatica with the Acumatica framework, that means there's no synchronization, everything is real-time data, and the way you can make sure that your data is always accurate and up to date. All right, so let's move to the demo part, which is, I'm sure it's what everyone wanted to see today. So let me quickly refresh to ensure that we're still logged in. Perfect. So like I said, it starts with adding the default values to the system so that people can leverage that information and not have to enter every single time. We have a time clock preference screen where you can set the default values across the system for things like the earning type, labor item, project and project task. If, for example, you need a default project as a backup, cost codes, and who the default approver would be for time. You can also have there's an option in here, for example, for auto-completing appointments. If you're using the integration between TimeClock and the field service module. The rest is just related to the maps. So obviously your Azure Map API key to be able to visualize the maps and the locations. And then we have 3 default values for the project site or the job site to ensure that we are able to classify the time that you're saving, if it's on the job site, if it's near the job site, or is far from the job site. So all of these are things that you can configure. And these values are either set across the system as defaults, or they can be set for every individual employee. Notice that none of these are required. That means that some of them may be set because they make sense, others they don't make sense. It all depends on the crew that is on the field. We have noticed that there are mainly 2 ways to clock in, depending on how you work. The first is when your crew is assigned to a single project for a long period of time. That's where things like having a default project and a default project task make sense, because they will go on the site and log time to the same tasks every single day. So that's where a project and project task default makes total sense. There are other type of jobs or crews that may be switching sites throughout the day or throughout the week very often. In that case, then a project and a project task doesn't make sense. You can leave it blank and they can select whichever project they're working on at the time. So let's take a look at the time entry screen. This is a screen that we developed. It's available both on the web and on the Acumatica app. This is the same screen, time entry screen that we developed. So what does this screen have right now? It has quick access buttons for start, pause, resume, stop, or discard the time. These are the quick access buttons right here. So it's as simple as just starting, clicking start, and then a small form comes in to ask about all the information. And apologies, the first time I launched my emulator, it's a little bit slower than usual. So this is the screen that they will receive. It has all the information with the default values that we just saw. So it's setting my earning type, my labor item, it's saying my default project, my project task, and my cost code, and even who's the approver for the time that I'm going to be entering. It has a short summary of the time that I have active, and then it has a description field that I can use to enter whatever description I want for the time. For example, this will be webinar time clock example. And I just need to hit confirm. Once I do that, the time starts running. That's my actual clock in. Sorry, I think I added the wrong one. Let's do it from here. Oh, is that? It logged me out. Apologies. This only happens when you're live. All right, so let's try again. In here, we have the same screen that I just showed you on the mobile. It has all the information the same. It has earning type, consulting project, project task, everything like that in my description field. And I just need to hit confirm. Now my time is running. And like I said, this is live. So if I come back to the time entry screen, I can see that my options change and I can pause or stop. It's the same if I do it from the web or if I do it for the mobile, it's completely live in the system. And it has already started, so it's showing me that it's active. My start time was 1:14 and this is the project that I'm working on. Once I'm done, I can click stop and it will bring the same screen that I did again. And this is very important because sometimes people are in a rush to start time, so to clock in, and they just want to hit the timer and worry about the details later. And other times they have the time to actually write down their tasks or write down what they're going to be doing on that clock in. So we allow to enter details and modify it either at the start or at the end of the time. Notice that it has the description that I have set, and I can just hit confirm to stop my timer. And again, all is real time. So if I refresh here, I have the time entry that I just created, demo for the webinar, and it's pending approval. So even if I don't enter a description, and that's one of the issues with time activities, normally you do need a description. We have make sure that you can do this as quickly as possible. So if I start my time, again, it's having a, but if I start my time from here, I click confirm and I stop after I'm done, just a couple clicks without any issue, the system auto completes the time for me. So it doesn't have to be waiting for anything here. Just with a couple times, a couple clicks, it enter and register my time. All right, so that's the basics of time entry. We have added a few additional improvements to mobile. And one of them, let me quickly show you, it's the filtering. So one of the main issues that we receive on the field is like when people are switching projects on the field, they will have a list of as many projects as you have registered in Acumatica. That could mean 200, 300, 500 projects already registered. So it's very hard for people to actually select the right one. Sometimes they don't even know the description or they don't have all the information to select the project. So what we added is a checkbox in here, the show new projects only. So this allows us to filter the project list based on the device location. So we calculated the coordinates for all the projects in the system and we save those coordinates. And we compare the location of the cell phone versus the project address. And then we can know in a certain radius which projects are nearby, and we will show only those projects to the user. That way, instead of scrolling through 200 projects, they only have to scroll maybe between 2 or 3 at most, if it's not the only option already there. So that has greatly reduced the input errors when recording time because they literally cannot miss the project if they need to switch it. So this is regarding the actual process of time entry. Let me confirm this to enter the time. So what else do we have on the mobile app? We have the summary for the day, how much time has been recorded. And we have a history that is defaulted for the current week. So I, as a user, can hit review and I will see all the time entries that I have for this week and if they have been approved or rejected very easily. Notice that this also, since we are in the Acumatica app, we can tie this to business events. So I can configure a business event when I reject time on Acumatica to send a mobile notification to the user to let them know that their time has been approved or rejected, whatever the case is. So the user will receive Acumatica notifications when their time gets approved. Finally, and this is something that, again, being inside Acumatica within the Acumatica framework, the beauty of this is that you can leverage all the Acumatica tools, including access rights. We have a manual time entry in case they miss the clock in for whatever reason. This is something that you can enable or disable via access right, but we have to wait to do a manual entry of the time, setting a start time and doing the active duration of the time. That's in case they forgot to log in for the day, but they still need to record their time. They can do it themselves if you allow them the access rights to do it. They still leverage all the default values for ease of use. And this is basically the interface on the mobile. It's designed to be simple, to be efficient, and to save time for people on the field, while still being flexible enough to do corrections or to do modifications if needed. For example, and we'll go into that in a second. So let's talk a little bit about the data workflow. We have the time entry screen. We have recorded time a couple times already for the day. Now, this flows directly into employee time activities and the Acumatica time activities. So I can just go to my approval screen, and we have introduced a couple of improvements here as well. I'm going to take Leila, who was my supervisor here, and notice that we added a distance status screen. So this is a very simple traffic light color code to know if the actions were registered on the project side, near or far. And we complement this with a map screen. So if I click here on OK, it's going to open my time map screen, and it's going to show me the project side, the two distances that I said that are okay and acceptable, and it's going to show where the actions were done. In this case, I have a play icon for the start and a stop icon for stop. So I can know exactly where they clock in and they clock out in here. And I can see for the day all the other activities. For example, I have here one that was rejected because it was done outside the project site, and I have another that was approved in here. I can either search for a different employee or search for a different day, and this gives me access to everything that was done for that um, employee. In case you have multiple actions, like they pause, they resume, they pause again, they resume, you will see all the list of different actions down here. But this is a very simple way to investigate and keep employees accountable of where they're clocking in and clocking out. This, of course, is related to the Acumatica settings for tracking location on the app. So everything is done through the Acumatica app, access rights and configuration. And this is what I was saying, that here this just flows into the Acumatica regular workflow for time activities, meaning that I can approve, I can reject. If I approve something or I reject something, I can create a business event to send a notification. And you can give the users the ability to correct time if it gets rejected. For example, I have a couple rejected in here. I can take a look here at what was rejected. I can see, for example, that it was because I have the wrong project and task. So I can come here as a user, select the right project, project task and cost code, and just confirm and save the information. Once I modify that, it goes back to pending approval. So if I refresh here, I can see this one is no longer rejected. It's still for approval now, but I corrected what I needed to correct, which was the project task. So it's a very simple process for the users to modify the information if needed. Again, all of this through the access right, and you can decide what they can modify or not. As in any other Acumatica screen, as you know, access right go down to the field level. So if you want a specific field to not be modified, you can remove the access through access right, and they won't be able to modify it. Okay, so after this gets approved, then it just flows back into Acumatica's workflow, and you can release the time activities, and it will flow into payroll, project, field service, whatever is selected in there. So I wanted to make a pause and talk a little bit about field service. As you know, field service has its own screen in Acumatica, and it's a very complete screen. It has a lot of information and a lot of functionalities that you can do there. You can add items, remove items. You can set multiple different statuses, and you can set very complex workflows on the field service screen on the Acumatica app. But we have some clients where they have a very simple field service process where they just need to record time. And sometimes that screen is a little bit overwhelming for the field techs because it just has too much information and too many options and too many processes. So what we developed was a simple integration where you can select an appointment for the days. Any active appointment that you have for the day as a user, you can select it here. And you can even add a service to the appointment if you want to select one already or add a new one. And this will flow into your appointment, add the time into your appointment, and flow through the rest of your billing process and Acumatica Assist. So It's not a complete substitution for the field service screen, but it's a solution when you require simple clock in, clock out with all the bells and whistles that the appointment screen has on the mobile app. Um, and that's pretty much everything that I wanted to show from the mobile aspect. We have gone through starting and stopping time, clock in, clock out, all of the full values. You can modify all of those fields if needed, but you can default it to save time. You can add descriptions. You can also, of course, attach through the Acumatica app, attach pictures, documents, files, anything that you want from your cell phone. You can attach that to the time entry. Um, and of course, as a user, you have the summary of your week or a bigger range if you want. Everything ties directly into Acumatica. And from the website, there's something else that I wanted to show you. And it's a feature that is designed for the office. It's not available on mobile, it's just available on the office. And it's the ability to record time for multiple employees. So whenever the user has the access rights to record, if they're an admin or they have people underneath them on the company tree, this employee selector will transform when you're doing a manual entry into a multi-employee selector. So for manual entry, I can select here and add multiple people and record all their time entries with a single click. And this is especially useful, for example, for supervisors when the crew is not entering their own time, but a supervisor needs to enter time for the day for the entire crew, or where you have company events like seminars, business trips, where you need to record the same time, same project, same task, everything for a large number of employees that are attending the event. You can quickly do it through the multi-selector on the employees for the manual time. And that's pretty much what I wanted to show you about the product demonstration. We may come back to the demo system during Q&A if there are any important questions. And I encourage you to leave any questions you have on the chat, and I'll be reviewing it when we get to the Q&A section. All right, so let's go back to our presentation. And let's talk a little bit about our roadmap, what we have in the works and what will be coming in the future. So there are a few new features. Some of them are very simple, some of them are more complex, but all of this has come from our client base and suggestions that our client has given to us. So the first thing is compatibility with the shift codes. As you know, in Acumatica for time entry and payroll, you have the shift code functionality that allows you to set an additional amount or additional percentage for time entry. So we'll be integrating with that. We are already compatible with payroll and time cards, but in Acumatica, time card has a limitation. And it's normally due to add time to a time card, the time card needs to exist already. So we are adding automatic time card creation. So if the employee is recording time and the time card is not created yet, the system will create it for them automatically. We'll be also including a correction screen for supervisors to make those changes easier and faster, either from mobile or from the web. We are evaluating crew compatibility to expedite the process. Like I said, when there's a supervisor that needs to enter time for the entire crew, so we can default to a crew ID and get all the information from them there. So we'll be integrating that as well. And we also have on our list to work with geofencing. Currently, we are doing geo-tracking, so you can see where everything is done. But we also be doing some geofencing to be able to limit actions or set reminders or set notifications based on locations from the GPS. So finally, let's do some reviews and, let's go over what we have talked today. The Heuristic TimeClock is a mobile solution. So the main functionality is mobile access for people on the field. It's efficient and fast. The idea is to be able to clock in, clock out with a couple clicks, not having to manually enter all the information that Acumatica normally requires. It's already integrated and compatible with construction projects and field service if you have a simple workflow. And of course, payroll, since all the time flows into payroll in Acumatica if you have your module set up. We are built within Acumatica framework. That means you have access to all the Acumatica tools. That also means that you can do things like your custom reports, GIs, side panels, dashboards, business events, notifications, anything that you can do with the Acumatica tools, you can do it for TimeClock because it's just another Acumatica screen inside the same database. And finally, we leverage the Acumatica app since we are on the framework for GPS tracking and location. We will be expanding on that, but this gives you access through a map view of where everything is being done, and that gives you more traceability and accountability for what's going on in your company. If you have any questions or comments, I will be reviewing them now on the chat. And it seems we do have a few. Let's start with Erica. Does the TimeClock module support manufacturing environments? Currently, the timekeeping is for employee time activities. It's not designed for entering time into the production orders. We are discussing a way to branch out into manufacturing for that, but currently it's only for employee time activities. Jenna, would this solution be similar to what MITRE offers? And if so, how it differs aside from being natively within the Acumatica platform? I'm not fully aware of all the MITRE functionalities, but being within the Acumatica platform does provide many advantages in terms of flexibility, real-time access to information, and access to all the Acumatica tools, and basically a seamless integrations with all the Acumatica processes that are related to timekeeping on the time and expenses module, projects, payroll, and field service. Ken, will the TimeClock interface with third-party payroll such as Workforce Go? Um, Currently, we're evaluating that. We have a few clients that work with other third-party solutions for payroll, and the current solution is an FTP export that can be set up depending on the format that the third-party solution requires. That's the most common solution or approach to that scenario so far. But we're evaluating depending on the interest from clients and which platforms they tend to use more. We are evaluating integrations since we have plenty of experience integrating Acumatica with many different platforms. Jennifer, does this time entry work for clocking in and out for production manufacturing? Unfortunately, no. Like we said before. And if there is no internet connectivity available, can the user enter his time and then sync back to the software when he returns? No, the downside or the current downside of the Acumatica mobile is that it needs to be connected to the internet to be able to record time into the internet. Currently, the Acumatica app is not offline compatible, although I believe there's something in the works for that in the future and will be compatible with the time counts. Let's see if we have any more questions. How to make from Marina, how to make a time correction and can it flow in the time approvals? Yes, anything that you set up for time. For example, I have the approval set up here, approvers, and that's why everything went into the approved time activity. But everything that you set up for workflows in your regular Acumatica, it should be compatible. We're just creating the time activity, and the system takes it from there in terms of approvals and workflows. And it can be corrected either from the app, like I showed you by the individual user, or if the supervisor has access rights to modify the time themselves, they can also do it. Casey, Another question about manufacturing production orders, like we mentioned, currently no, but we are evaluating that. Will there be an ability to clock in, clock out without entering a project at all? The approver codes, the time entries. Yes, you could use Project X for this, and then just reclassify the project for whatever project is needed. Absolutely no problem with that. And you would most likely default Project X for everyone or at the employee level. So all the time is entered with Project X at the time of clocking in and clocking out. Is this included with the payroll module or will it cost extra? No, this is developed by Heuristic. It's a third-party tool, so it has its own pricing. It's the pricing is tied to the Acumatica tier list. So we'll talk about a little bit about how to get a demo and get the pricing for the module. Can labor item field default from employee setup? Absolutely. Part of the defaults is the labor item. It should be there. Also, let me confirm. But yes, it should be able to default from there. And anything that's the other beauty of being inside the Acumatica framework. Any additional modification that you may require for the system, we can do it absolutely no problem. We have plenty of experience, like I said, under development customizations. So being inside the Acumatica framework allows us to do customizations very easy on the module. If there's something that it's not there yet, or if there's something that you would require in addition to this, like a user field or additional functionality, we can definitely modify to meet that requirement. Is there any equipment time tracking capabilities? Currently, no. We have had a couple of questions about equipment in the past. Um, we have, we're evaluating that because it depends if you're using regular Acumatica equipments from the organization configuration or if you're using the equipments from field service. So it may vary depending on which equipment type you're using for recording that. It's still under analysis. That's why it's not on the roadmap, but it could make it to a roadmap very soon if we determine there's a viable solution. Casey, we have shop floor time capturing for manufacturing. Correct. How can we make corrections on the daily basis? Like I said, the corrections can be done either by the user from the mobile screen or the website, or by the supervisor directly on the employee time activity. When will this be available? This is already available. It's been available for a while now, and we'll talk about how to get a demo on the pricing, but it's completely compatible with all Acumatica current versions, supported version. That means 25R1, 24R2, and 24R1. And once the new version 25R2 is released later this year, it will also be compatible. So it's been on the market, I think, since the early 23R1, if I remember correctly. So all versions are available. Is this specifically for field service? Matt asks. No, not a specific, but it is integrated with field service. You can use it for regular projects. You can use it without any project or field service at all, or you can integrate with field service. And actually, the pricing depends on that. We made the pricing flexible enough. So if you only need projects, you only pay for projects. If you need projects and field service, you can pay for both. Or if you only need field service, then you can go down that route. And even the geo tracking and map part is optional as well. Can we do biometric for the mobile app? You can do biometric, I believe, for logging in into the Acumatica app, but not specifically for clocking in, clocking out. Currently, I don't know if that's completely viable within the Acumatica framework because that's part of the security validation for logging into the app. I'm not sure that's available once you are logged in into the app, but we can take a look at that for sure. Would this replace any daily times punching out system? For example, we currently use facial recognition for daily times. Yes, this is a simple approach where the users can manually log in their time. If you're doing facial recognition, that's definitely more advanced. Um, it all depends on what are the real requirements and what problems you're solving with your current system or what you would be solving with TimeClock. Normally, TimeClock caters more to the field, but for Office is also available depending on what are your requirements, and we can take a look if you have any specific or additional problems that you need to solve. Can we add a reason for correction? You can add a note in the correction so it's available for the user and we can review exactly what would you need. Is it just a comment or if it's something else that you would need to add like a custom field for reports or something like that, then we could take a look at customizing that and adding a field. But out of the box, just notes will do that. All right, I think we went through the question list already. Anyone else has any comments or questions about the product? All right. So all that is left is how do you actually request a demo, a price list, or get in contact with us for getting the product? So you can reach out directly to myself, Gabriel, or Alberto. Gabriel is our CEO, Alberto is our CFO. Our emails are in there on screen. Very simple. David at Heuristic, Gabriel at Heuristic, and Alberto at Heuristic. So not much to memorize there. You can also request through our website or the Acumatica Marketplace for our development service, and we'll be soon be there in the Acumatica Marketplace with the product. It's already been approved. I think it's just a little bit of red tape that it's still preventing it from being published in there, but that should be solved very, very soon. So it will be available through the marketplace as well. And of course, our linking page, Heuristic. If you have any comment questions or you would like to stay up to date with all news from our products, including TimeClock, feel free to give us a follow in LinkedIn or reach out, and we'll be more than happy to follow up with you. All right. Um, so if there's nothing else, all that is left for me is to thank you very much, all of you, for your time. It's been great seeing all of you here, and just wish you have a great rest of your week.